beloveds. This is Sophia Mona Lisa of the Golden Ray Center and the Roseville Mystery School. And I have a whole new video journal for you today. Today is Monday, July 15th. And this video journal was inspired for many reasons. The first is that I attended a Mary Magdalene Revealed retreat this weekend that was being led by Meggan Watterson at the Omega Institute. I was one of the participants that was participating through the live stream. I wasn't actually in New York with the other participants, although we had quite a nice crowd with the online participants. Throughout the weekend, there were numerous opportunities for those in the audience and those also online to be able to share, to be witnessed, to have their truth heard. And there was so much that I was desiring to share that I was inspired to do this video journal as my way of sharing, as my way of being witnessed. And I allowed others that were online to have the opportunity to be called upon, and just kept my hand down. There's a reason why this video journal is titled Mary Magdalene Revealed to Me. First, because this is about the Mary Magdalene Revealed retreat that I attended. And secondly, because Mary Magdalene did, through the course of this retreat, reveal herself to me. And that is what I'm desiring to share with you today. And before I do that, before I get into it, I just want to take this momentary occasion, this opportunity, I should say, to dedicate this entire journal to the cosmic Sophia, the universal Sophia, the one divine creatrix of all life, however you may know her or refer to her. And I offer this to her on the altar of my heart. And this excerpt from this very ancient manuscript is a beautiful way to dedicate this to her, who is the first and the last. I am the first and the last. I am she who is honored and she who is scorned. I am the whore and the holy woman. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the bride and the bridegroom. I am she, the Lord. Yes, she is the one divine creatrix of all life. Beloved Sophia, thank you. So this video journal is really actually intended as a part of the other, the other aspect of being inspired to create it. It's really a love letter. And it's a love letter to Meggan Watterson, who led this retreat. It's a love letter to my earthly mother, Linda Catalona Taft. It is a love letter to my earthly sister, Miriam Taft Lundell. It is a love letter to all of my priestess sisters. It is a love letter to all of the members of the Galactic New Earth Project community, those who have come and left, and most especially to those who have come and stayed. It is a love letter to Thecla. It is a love letter to Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. It is a love letter to Mother Mary and Anna, her mother. It is a love letter to Christ. It is a love letter to Sophia. It is a love letter to the beloved, my beloved. And it is a love letter to myself, because I came to know myself as the beloved. And it is a love letter to you, because you too are the beloved. So let me tell you how all of this happened for me. There's a lot of twists and turns that may seem really irrelevant to you, and that's okay. And for me, I see the thread. And for me, it's important to give voice to and honor the thread that I see. So way back in April 2022, 2022 was 3 years after the Magdalene journey that I took to France with 7 other people. There were 8 of us. 2 of them were priestess sisters. The facilitator, the leader of this Magdalene journey, also a priestess sister. So 3 years later, April 2022, I received an email from one of the Galactic New Earth tribe members, Helen. Helen has been with this project, the Galactic New Earth Project, since its inception, January of 2022. And she sent me an email because she happened to come across a YouTube channel. I think it was called Esoteric Atlanta. And the woman of that channel was doing a series of videos on Mary Magdalene based on this book here that was written by Meggan Watterson. And what I know for sure, although I don't remember exactly how it unfolded, what I know for sure is that Helen sent me that email on a specific day in April 2022, which happens to be exactly the same day that I ended up purchasing Meggan Watterson's book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, and her oracle, the Divine Feminine Oracle. I don't know if her Mary Magdalene Oracle was published then. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know she had published a Mary Magdalene Oracle, and that becomes pertinent as I continue on. But on the same day in April, as I received that email from Helen sharing with me these videos that this woman was creating around the work that Meggan had put together in her book, I bought these two, the book and the oracle, on Amazon from Meggan. Well, fast forward, in August of 2023, we had our retreat here, the Metamorphic retreat, where the Capricorn sovereignty goddess of the Leo synodic cycle was being transmuted into the Leo divine royalty goddess of the Venus synodic cycle. And I pulled a card from Meggan's Divine Feminine oracle during that week. And the card that I pulled was Thecla, the prophetess of true power. And I loved this image because we see here that she's standing with the lion that in the scripture becomes her protectress. And I knew the moment I saw this card that she was another representation of the Leo divine royalty goddess. I had already received from Sophia that Sekhmet is the Leo divine royalty goddess. And here I knew that Thecla also was a Leo royalty divine goddess. And if you've been watching my work for a while, you may even recall way back then when I was speaking to the activations through the Venus synodic cycle and the DNA of the Sophia code that we were bringing online through the Leo divine royalty goddess journey, that I was referring to Lilith in the sky, who at the time was in the sign of Leo, because I received that she was, Lilith in Leo was really kind of a placeholder for Thecla as our Leo divine royalty goddess. So then we move into further into 2023. And in December 2023, once again, Helen sends me an email. And once again, she has found some channel that is doing work around the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And what I did fail to mention earlier is that Meggan's entire book is all about the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. She also happens to include in this book the scriptures of Paul and Thecla. And so this was the second time that Helen was sending me an email around some online source that she had found that was speaking to the teachings that are in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And about that same time, I was starting to be very aware that Saint Germain was showing up for our work, and that Joan d'Arc was showing up for our work. And I was being inspired to put together a divine feminine leadership retreat for the completion of this Leo divine royalty goddess journey, which will be in March. And I was really feeling like, ooh, we need to go to France, and we really need to be on the ground there where Mary Magdalene walked and where Jeanne d'Arc walked, and just really tap into those energies. And I was really desiring to create this divine feminine leadership retreat there, and to use this beautiful image that also comes from Meggan's Divine Feminine Oracle of Jeanne d'Arc. There are many images of Joan of Arc, and I love this one. And so I actually took the opportunity to write to Meggan and ask her, and to ask the artist that created these divine feminine images for her, if I could have permission to use this image of Jeanne d'Arc for this divine feminine leadership retreat I was being inspired to put together. And she was so gracious, and she was so kind, and she responded to me, to my email request, immediately, and explained that she would be very happy for me to use this image, and because her works are published through HOUSE, that she is required to refer me on to HOUSE to get permission from the publisher, and to rest assured that I had her permission. I just needed the publisher's permission. And I'm guessing at that point is how my email address ended up in her database, her email list, because all of a sudden I started to receive emails from her that I had never received before. And that's a critical part of this story. So fast forward to March of this year, I happened to come across it recommended to me on YouTube, this incredible video. This video that was put together by Dr. Justin Sledge. His channel is called Esoterica on YouTube, and about Mary Magdalene and the secret teachings. And, you know, guess what? Of course, it was all about the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So you see, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene kept showing up and showing up and showing up. And I had actually purchased a copy of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and actually the copy of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene that Meggan Watterson recommends in her book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, the one by Karen King. She also recommends another one. I got the one by Karen King. So I've had it. It's been here with me. And I immediately shared this video with all of the members of the Galactic New Earth Tribe community, because I knew the Galactic New Earth Project community, the tribe working together with me in this project, because I knew it was relevant for them. And so much so that in April, when we were getting ready to go through the death by intent portal, the stepping off place into the Inanna underworld, I even talked about this video and, of course, the book, The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, that Karen King did, in relationship to the ascension process and the seven powers. And then again, a couple months later, while we're in the Inanna underworld, which is where we still are, I get one of these emails that I get from time to time from Meggan. And it was about this Mary Magdalene Revealed retreat. And I forwarded on, just like I did this video over here, I forwarded on to all of the tribe members of the Galactic New Earth Project. And I felt like I needed to attend this retreat, but I wasn't really sure why. And I'm going to be straight up transparent with you. My egoic self was saying to me, oh, you've been working with Mary Magdalene and her teachings for so long. What can Meggan teach you that you don't already know? And, you know, when the egoic mind is feeling resistant about participating, it's because it knows, before you are consciously aware, that if you choose to participate, life as you know it will never be the same. And so that life as you know it means that there is, in some degree, great or large, a death to the ego, a death process for the ego that it must go through. And of course, the ego doesn't want to die, right? It wants to be in charge so that you cannot allow it to die. And one of the primary ways that the ego throws up resistance is through finances. Oh, I can't afford that, right? Oh no, I cannot participate because I can't afford that. So I was aware that all of this was going on, and I just kind of got through the month of June, and then I got an email from one of the Galactic New Earth Tribe members, Gina. She said she was going to participate, and then I felt re-inspired again to also participate. And again, I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm really going to get out of this, but I'm aware that there's like this nudge to show up for it. So I said, okay, if I'm supposed to go participate in this, then show me how it's being made possible. And of course, that's shorthand for show me for how it's being financially made possible for me to attend. Sure enough, almost instantaneously, boom. So it's like, okay, I'm supposed to go. Still didn't know why, still didn't know what I was going to learn from it. But I thought, okay, I'll show up and I'll be present and I'll be polite and respectful and I will maintain an open mind. That's what I'm telling my egoic self. So this past weekend, we started on July 12th, Friday, July 12th, with an evening session on Friday night. July 13th, we had 2 sessions, so it was an all day. And then yesterday, Sunday, we had a morning session. So this was the Magdalene Revealed retreat. And out the gate, Friday night, Meggan starts talking about this soul voice meditation, and she starts giving instruction on how to do the soul voice meditation. And what I'm clearly aware of immediately is, oh, wow, this is cool. This is cool. I can groove into this because her soul voice meditation is very similar to the Christ heart meditation that I was guided to share. And the purpose of both is to tap in to, she doesn't call it the Christ heart, but it's the same thing, to tap into your heart, to tap into your Christ heart so that you can hear the guidance, your inner guidance. What is it that your divine self is desiring for you to know? And so that Christ heart meditation, in the way that I practice it, is within this video journal that I did, Daily Messages from Sophia. And I will put a link in the description box for you below. And I've always loved this image of Sophia. And you'll notice that in the center of the image, it looks like an egg. It looks like an aperture. It looks like an eye. This is highly significant in terms of where we're going with this Magdalene retreat. And so, this is tapping into that place where your divine self is anchored, right? Where the light of who you are as a divine being is anchored. And so we were being prepared to go, to do the soul voice meditation. There was a lot of talk about, tapping into your heart, that it's this sacred temple within, and what does that sacred temple within look like to you? And of course, I was immediately reminded, as this was being discussed, of this horse wisdom from Epona, the mare-headed goddess of Demeter, who meets us in the cave of initiation. And for me, that sacred temple of the heart space was very much a cave, is very much a cave of initiation. And even this quote from Joseph Campbell, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek," is absolutely a significant statement around entering into this heart space, this cave where the treasure lies. And of course, Meggan starts talking about that treasure. And so for me, I was already like, yeah, this is great. I'm totally aligned with everything that they're speaking to, right? I've got my inner cave of initiation, but I had never thought about what does that look like? I just always kind of knew, and I'm sure I've never even made that reference in terms of the work that I've put out there, that your heart space is this inner sacred temple. Maybe I have. I mean, it would make sense in the priestess teachings, as within, so without. I've always called this physical body our sacred temple. And so, of course, there is a sacred temple within. I always knew that temple within was a cave of initiation. Did I ever speak to it, use those words? I don't really recall. But as they were talking about, and so what does your sacred temple look like? All of a sudden, I started to receive an image that my sacred temple was a cave of diamonds, but not the coal that needs to be turned into diamonds, like diamonds. And that the floor was not the earth, it was all gold dust. And I thought, wow, this is pretty groovy. I like this. And it just kind of came in as they were talking about it, and it came out, and it went out. Now, in the book Mary Magdalene Revealed that Meggan wrote, she references this part of the Mary Magdalene Gospel. And this is Yeshua, who has resurrected. So he is the Christ saying to her, Mary Magdalene, be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of true humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. So again, I knew already that this particular part, this scripture from the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, was speaking to, this child of true humanity, this divine self that we are, that is anchored in here, and that this is the place where we have to find it and meet it. And this scripture was very much kind of a representation of that. And it comes into play a little bit later on as well. Now, I can't remember exactly all the things that were discussed Friday night, but there were a lot of things that Meggan spoke to that were like huge ahas for me. And one of the things that she spoke to was something she called the patriarchal mother. Whoa, that knocked me over like a ton of bricks. I mean, I know about the mother wound. I've had my own mother-daughter wounds that I've had to navigate. I never heard this term patriarchal mother. And hearing it was like, wow, how concise, like in terms of like a role that you would choose to play for someone to help them liberate themselves, to come into their self-mastery. Choosing to play the role of the patriarchal mother is enormous, because it's like, being tagged with the role that Judas played for Yeshua, right? It's a role that gets really identified and steeped with deep, deep betrayal. And I love this quote from Carol P. Christ, or is it Carol P. Christ? I don't know. I didn't know who this woman was when I found this quote. Turns out that she's another Meggan Watterson. She is a woman who is a divine feminist, who is a feminine theologian, who went to, I think it was it Harvard's Divinity School? I think it's the same school that Meggan Watterson went to. Now, this woman is chronologically was born before Meggan. She passed away at the age of 75 in 2021. So I don't know how much Meggan knows of this woman's work. I can't even fathom that she's not aware of this woman's work, though I've not personally heard her make reference to Carol's work. But I love this quote. The mother must socialize her daughter to become subordinate to men. And if her daughter challenges patriarchal norms, the mother is likely to defend the patriarchal structures against her own daughters. I have experienced this from my own mother when she was wearing the role of the patriarchal mother. This ties back to Thecla and her story in the scriptures about how Thecla's mother played the role, wore the garment of the patriarchal mother, and how Thecla ended up saving herself from that role that her mother was determined to confine her in. And really, all of us who have had mothers that have played the role of patriarchal mother have in some way or another have had to save ourselves in the same way that Thecla had to save herself. And I would even go so far as to say two things. What I know for sure is this. Hold on a second, because I can hear Dolce tearing something up. Hold on a second. First thing that I know for sure, because this is how I was actually able to make peace with the fact that my mother had agreed to play that role for me. What I know for sure is that the soul that agrees to play that role for you has unfathomable love for you. It is out of that soul's love for you and its desire for you to liberate yourself, to achieve self-mastery, that they step forward and volunteer to play that role. The other thing that I know for sure, which I've forgotten, oh yes, is that if you have a mother that is playing the role of the patriarchal mother for you, so that you can learn how to save yourself, it is because you are this close to liberation, to liberating yourself. So it is a huge boon in terms of self-mastery to receive a mother that is willing to play that role for you. Now, there's this other quote, which is interesting, that's that I found by Bethany Webster. The patriarchal culture's need for a subservient female, unaware of her power, is our deeper collective longing of our inner child to find a mother who won't abandon us. And this is incredible because I can remember saying to Gina, after each session and throughout the day, we would be in touch by text and or phone to kind of share notes, serve as a witness for each other. And I said to her after all of this discussion around Thecla, I said, what I know is that humanity is only going to be healed by the love of the Divine Mother. That's the only thing that's going to heal humanity. It's because when you have a healing by the Divine Mother, then you are able to find out, to discover, to recognize, to realize that you are love. But you can't realize that you are love until that healing has taken place. And the only one who can do it is the Divine Mother. I also love that this quote from Bethany, and again, I don't know anything about her, but I love this quote from her, is all in black because it reminds me of the first power that Christ gives to Mary Magdalene in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And that first power is darkness. And it's in the darkness where we can finally begin to perceive the light that we are. So I love that, it is from the cosmic womb, so to speak, that darkness that is the cosmic womb from which all things are birthed, where you can come to know who you really are. And so that evening, after we had the discussion about the soul voice meditation and how to do it and the inner temple, and one other piece, because I don't want to do the whole retreat here, but one other piece that is critical that you need to be aware of that comes from Christ's teachings to Mary Magdalene in the Gospel of Mary is this piece right here. And I'm going to actually read it to you. So this is verse 7 of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And she said, she being Mary Magdalene, she said, I saw the Lord in a vision. And I said to him, Lord, I saw you today in a vision. He answered me, how wonderful you are for not wavering at seeing me. For where the mind is, there is the treasure. For where the mind is, there is the treasure. Now, this is the big piece that Meggan is able to help us understand and clarify because she is a theologian. In the Coptic, there were 3 versions of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene found. And I'm pretty sure it was the Coptic version. Maybe it was the Greek version. I can't remember. Anyhow, the word that was translated in the Berlin Codex as mind was originally nous, N-O-U-S. Now in French, nous means we. But again, whether it was the Greek or the Coptic, nous means something completely different. Oh, it was the Greek. It means the eye of the heart. The eye of the heart. Where the eye of the heart is, there is the treasure. That's why I love this image, going way back here, of Sophia, because it's showing the eye of the heart, where the treasure is. And then Mary Magdalene continues. I said to him, so now, Lord, does a person who sees a vision see it with the soul or with the spirit? And the Savior answered, a person does not see with the soul or with the spirit, rather the mind. And again, it's that nous, N-O-U-S, that heart, that eye of the heart. Rather, it is with the eye of the heart, which exists between the soul and between the spirit, that sees the vision. And so this is why it was so significant in Meggan's work to be doing this soul vision meditation, and in my work with Sophia to be doing the Christ heart meditation. Because when you go into the Christ heart, and the inner temple, the sacred temple, the cave of initiation, right? It's not the Christ heart. It is a temple, and it is a temple like Solomon's temple that gives you access to the Holy of Holies, right? Where in Solomon's temple, all of the most divine artifacts, like the Ark of the Covenant, were kept in the Holy of Holies, that which no one else could see, right? Your sacred temple, your inner heart, is the temple that gives you access to that Holy of Holies, your Christ heart. And when you tap in to that Holy of Holies, then you have got the eye of the heart that allows you to see the treasure. Okay. So this was great that to discover that in this way, my work and Meggan's work is very much aligned, very much on track, and that our work is very much aligned, very much on track with the wisdom that Christ is sharing with Mary Magdalene in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So Friday night, we did our first soul vision meditation. And once we tapped into our Christ heart, the question that we were to ask, that inner presence, right, that inner divine self, is, what is your intention for me during this retreat? And I heard, you will see me. And then I heard, you will know me. And then I became aware that my egoic mind kicked in and was like, well, was it you will see me, or was it will you know me? Well, it must be you will see me, because that's what I heard first. And so this is the thing about discernment that we talk about, is when you're going into the Holy of Holies, whose voice are you hearing? Are you hearing the voice of the divine, your soul voice, or are you hearing an egoic voice? And this is all a part of why these powers are significant, because it's about our human self and our divine self. And of course, the egoic voice is the voice of the human self. It's like, wait a minute. So that was like, wow, this is pretty cool to have as an intention for this retreat. Okay, this is why I'm here. That's why I was guided to be here. I can hang with this. And of course, my egoic mind is, ooh, you're going to see the big light, right? The light that is 10,000 times as bright as the sun. That's what you're going to see. The mighty I am presence. Well, spoiler alert, that's not what I saw. But the intention was fulfilled, and I will get to that. So the next day, Saturday, as I said, I didn't know that Meggan had developed a Magdalene oracle deck, and I have a Magdalene oral deck. It wasn't Meggan's. It's a deck created by a woman by the name of Toni Carmine Salerno. And so I was inspired to just pull a Magdalene card for that day of the retreat. And actually 2 cards popped out. The first was the Universal Christ card, and the second was transformation. And I'm not going to go into, all of the messaging around that from Toni Salerno's oracle book. But I was like, wow, this bodes well. I'm excited. Now, we get through the morning, and in the morning, we have to do another soul voice meditation. And this soul voice meditation, that the question that we were to pose once we tapped in is, which egoic layer am I ready to let go of? The reason this was the prompt or the question is because as Meggan was sharing the story about Thecla, in Thecla's story, you discover that twice she is judged and the punishment is death, and she's stripped down and paraded in front of everybody on her way to where she's going to have to meet her end. And what's fascinating about this is, Meggan tells her own story, and that, these egoic layers are like garments. They're like clothing that we have to take off, clothing that we've put on, layers of clothing that we've put on that we have to take off. And she talked about how she had an egoic layer that she called the strong, independent woman. And I immediately resonated with that. Just like when she said the patriarchal mother is like, whoa, it was that kind of boom, knock you over. Yes, I need this piece. And I realized, those of us, again, who have mothers that wear the garment, take on the egoic layer of playing the role of the patriarchal mother, create children, especially girls, that become strong, independent women. Because what we learn is that nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to take care of us. And so somehow we've got to be able to save and take care of ourselves. And you've probably have heard in different movies, or maybe even someone has said to you, in my own life, I had a very dear friend say this to me too. You don't need a man, right? The other version of that is, you don't need a husband. doesn't mean that there's an egoic part of you that is clinging to this desire to have a man in your life, right? To have a partnership, a relationship, to have a husband, because that's what will prove that you're acceptable to everybody. But that's where this strong, independent woman comes from. So when I go in to the sacred temple, to the Holy of Holies, and I ask, which egoic layer am I ready to let go of? All of a sudden, boom, 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 I am bombarded. The caregiver, the fixer, the teacher, the truth teller, the wisdom keeper, the way shower. And I'm like, wait. Which one is it? And then I was shown. I didn't hear. These egoic layers I heard by name, but I'm like, wait a minute, which one of these is it? I was shown. I had that gnosis that I was wearing the robe, the coat of the strong, independent woman. But throughout my life, what happened is whenever that wasn't acceptable, then I would put on a scarf. I would put on the scarf of the caregiver. And well, when the caregiver was no longer acceptable, I would put on another scarf, the scarf of the fixer, and so on and so forth. And here I was wearing all of these scarves that were all mutations, variations of the core thing, right? The core, strong, independent woman. And what I was shown is that these scarves were strangling me. That's why they came like this. They were strangling me. I needed to take them all off so that I could get down to letting go of the egoic layer of the strong, independent woman. I was dumbfounded. And more than that, Meggan talks about the wisdom of the body. It's discussed in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the body wisdom. And what had happened to me the Sunday prior to this weekend's event is I came down with strep throat. Now, as a child, I had chronic strep throat. And I'm thinking, how in the heck did I get strep throat? And more than that, who did I get it from? There was no logical explanation for how I should have come up with strep throat. And when I was talking to my soul sister, Wensong, about it, she said, well, it's just a manifestation of the alchemical process of this Inanna underworld. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what it means. I mean, I know it's that, but I don't know what it means. Boom. The first power. You're in the darkness. You don't know where you are. You don't know why you're having the experience. You don't know what the experience means. You don't know. You're in the dark, right? The first power. Well, the moment that I received this wisdom from my soul voice, I instantly knew, that's what my body has been trying to tell me. And that's why a week before this retreat, because my soul knew I had said yes to this retreat, that I would be attending this retreat, I came down with strep throat, right? A manifestation of the egoic layers that I had collected as scarves throughout my life that were now strangling me. Well, after that morning session, I had to call my sister. And I started telling her about, all of the wisdom that I was receiving, and especially about what had happened with this second soul voice meditation and the scarves and the this, that, and the other. And she said to me, she said, well, not to make this about me, but to make it about me. She says, this explains why I have had this compulsion over the years to buy you these incredibly beautiful scarves. And you don't wear them, but I can't help myself. Whenever I see one, I have to buy it for you as a gift. I said, I know I've got all these scarves that you bought for me. And, my egoic mind is like, well, you don't know how to tie it, so that's why you don't wear it, right? But I didn't know what to do with them. They were gifts from her, so I valued them, but she didn't know why she was compelled to give them to me. I didn't know what they meant, if they meant anything, wasn't even thinking that they meant anything and what to do with them. But as we were discussing this, it became crystal clear to me that my sister and I, having grown up in the same childhood experience, because we're 2.5 years apart, and our childhood experience is very different than our younger brother's experience because he's 9 years younger than me. I realized, oh my goddess, she came in to be the witness for me. And I'm here to be the witness for her. Now, personality-wise, growing up as children, we were like water and vinegar. We were so very different, and we're still very, very different. But personality-wise, it was just a constant clash. I mean, the worst punishment my mother could think of to give us was to make us sit on the couch and hug each other, because there was this repulsive energy, this energy that was repelling us from each other. And as we became adults, what we recognized about each other, which kind of allowed that repelling energy to dissipate, which kind of brought us closer together, is that while nobody else in our family, nobody else in our lives would validate our experiences, we could validate them for each other. And that was important, because then we weren't going mad, we weren't going crazy from all of the gaslighting that was going on around us. But what I came aware of in this moment is that we had come in to be the witness for each other, and that her compulsion to buy these scarves for me was her soul's impulse as the witness to get me this message that I was putting on these scarves, these egoic layers, and of course, eventually, to the point where they've been strangling me. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable, the revelation that came from that. So we go into the afternoon session, and it's time for the next soul voice meditation. And, I already read the scripture where Christ is telling Mary Magdalene that it is with the eye of the heart that you can see the treasure, and that the treasure is this holy power. And so in this soul voice meditation, we are asking, what is keeping me from receiving this holy power within me? And again, boom, it was this knowing. It wasn't a voice, it was just a knowing. And what I knew already, which was kind of like the gateway for receiving this message, is that years ago, as a young adult, I had what do they call it? A regression done. And what I discovered through the regression, it wasn't like a past life regression, it was just a regression, was that I had had this experience early in my life, about the age of 2.5, definitely less than 3, where I had had this death experience that many would call like a near-death experience, except for me, it wasn't a near-death experience. It was a death experience that resulted in a walk-in. And when I discovered that in this regression, it made so much sense to me, because through my entire childhood, I was convinced that I had a twin. And every time we would see that movie, The Parent Trap with Haley Mills, I was convinced. My birth parents, my mother and father, they were divorced the day before I turned a year old. My parents, my birth mother and my adoptive father, were married 6 weeks later. I was convinced that my birth father got one of the twins and I was the twin that got sent off with my mother, because I was convinced I've got a twin out there. Where is this twin? I can't find this twin. Well, in this soul voice meditation, the knowing that I received is that the soul that was birthed through my mother into this sacred temple was my twin flame. And when that near-death experience happened, my twin flame used that as the opportunity to leave this sacred vessel, and I, as its twin flame, my soul as its twin flame, came in, which is why I always had this feeling. But it was very, knowing that a soul had been here before me and had left and I had walked in, it was very disconnected. There was not any sense of recognition that that soul was a twin flame. It was because of the trauma involved, especially at such a young age. Total disassociation, total disconnection. Going back to, right, don't look here, don't look there, right? How we have to be in the now to go within. And what I heard then was, what is keeping me from receiving the holy power is that I needed to grieve, right, my twin flame having left this body, and I needed to celebrate that I had been resurrected within this body. And apparently we agreed as twin flames to go through that little drama, because somehow by us doing that, it was going to help all other twin flames be able to receive this holy power. Okay, there's much more to it, but I won't go into it now. So that was like I was like spent after that. That was Saturday evening. So the next day, Sunday morning, I actually, on Saturday, I had ordered Meggan's Oracle deck. They were to be received on Sunday, but by the Sunday morning session, I had not received them yet. And so once again, I asked the Magdalene for a card for that day, and I received the resurrection card. Now that blew me away, one, because of the soul voice message I had received the night before, so that was kind of like a validation. But two, later on, it was like, it became so much more relevant, and I'll get to that. Now, during the course of this day, as people were going up to share at the microphone that were present in New York, and also those that were being pulled forth on the Zoom to be able to share. There was a lot of discussion about, when you're going into the sacred temple, how do you know? How do you know if it's the egoic voice that you're hearing or if it's the soul voice that you're hearing? And so there was some discussion around that. And the thing that pops out to me that I remember from that discussion is that the egoic voice has got like a lot of words. It's got a lot of words. And of course, remember I said I was aware that it had popped in the first soul voice meditation, because I heard, I will see you, or you will see me. And then I heard, you will know me. And then my egoic voice is, well, was it you will see me, or was it you will know me? Well, you heard you will see me first, so we're going to stick, So I was already aware that the egoic voice could be at play. And so this was a huge thing that everybody was trying to discern for themselves, because it's kind of like giving birth to a baby. When somebody says, what is it like to give birth to a baby? It's such a unique experience, and there's practically hardly any words around it. Everybody's got their own unique experience. And it's the same with the egoic voice. Yes, the egoic voice does have a lot of words. That is a clue, right? If you're trying to discern, is this my egoic voice? Is it my soul voice? The other thing is that the egoic voice is very linear, while the soul voice is nonlinear. And I know, let me look at my notes here, because I took some notes. I know Meggan said a couple other things about this. Hold on a second. She said the soul voice feels expansive, and that the egoic voice feels constrictive. Okay. So that was a huge discussion, and I was like really tuned in, because I really wanted to know I was hearing when I was hearing my soul voice. And I had felt like pretty comfortable up to that point that I was hearing my soul voice. But the ego creates doubt to undermine your confidence in the power of who you are. All right. That morning we have to do a fourth soul voice meditation. And this was very exciting for me, because now all of a sudden Meggan starts talking about the power of I am. Right? We heard it from the first slide. Let me find that for you, just a second. Okay, here's the quote that I used for my invocation, my dedication to Sophia. And it's the quote from the Thunder Perfect Mind. I am the first and the last. I am she who is honored and she who is scorned. I am the whore and the holy woman. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the bride and the bridegroom. I am she, the Lord. When Meggan started talking about the power of I am statements, I was ecstatic, because I know the power of the I am statements from the work that we've been doing with Saint Germain's teachings. And, it's incredible, because from the Thunder Perfect Mind, that scripture is taken from, it's demonstrating that she is all that is, because she is being inclusive of the polar opposites of each statement that she makes. I am the first and the last, right? Yeshua said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. It is the same thing. This is the inclusivity of all that is. So Meggan asked us, and of course, Thecla in her scripture uses the I am statements as well. And Meggan speaks to that. So she invited us to go into this soul voice meditation to receive from our soul an I am statement that would be our personal mantra. So I get tapped into my Christ heart and I ask the question. And immediately I start hearing, I am the love and the power and the truth of all that is. And Meggan does this thing where she just kind of holds space for us to be in the Holy of Holies, to clearly receive what we're meant to receive. And so as she was doing that, I just kept hearing this repeat, or I was, right? The little I, the egoic self, was repeating, I am the love, I am the power, I am the truth of all that is. Kept going around and around and around. I am the love. Then it became, I am the truth and the power of all that is. I am the love and the truth and the power of all that is, going round and round and round. And then slightly behind it, I heard, I am the holy fire of Christ. And I am telling you, that's when I knew. That was my soul voice. What I was hearing prior to that was going around and round in a loop, was my egoic voice. When I heard quietly, like from the background, I am the holy fire of Christ. There was such zeal, such power in that statement that I burst into tears. I literally burst into tears. Now, of course, my egoic mind tweaked that. And I shared, I am the holy fire of Sophia Christ. And that has become my personal mantra since the completion of the retreat. And while the retreat completed after the Sunday morning session, for me, the retreat was not complete. I was here in my home, a kind of sacred temple in and of itself. I didn't have to get packed and eat lunch and say goodbye to everybody and get a cab to the airport and take a flight. No, I was still here in the crucible of the sacredness of my own home being worked. The retreat continued for me into that evening, even went into me going to bed. And so what happened was my Mary Magdalene oracle that I had ordered the day before, Meggan's Mary Magdalene order, showed up. And when I opened it, I saw an image on the front of it. And when I saw the image, I knew exactly what it was an image of. And in the same instance, I was aware that I have a coffee mug that has a very almost identical image on it. The coffee mug was given to me as a gift. Never really knew what the image was or was supposed to be, just Okay, thank you for the gift kind of a thing, right? This is the deck. And this is the image. And of course, the image is the new, N-O-U-S, right? The Greek word for the eye of the heart. And look at this mug. This is virtually identical to this. I knew that that's what the image on this mug that I had received, I don't even remember from when. I actually received it as a gift from my sister's wife, that's what it was. And I said to my sister, this is another scarf message. This is another scarf message. And so it demonstrates how we are each the observer for the other. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And now, speaking about the scarf message, this is another scarf message. This is another scarf message. I have committed to wearing these scarves because once you let go of an egoic layer, then you can consciously choose, which is also, right? I said a garment. Then you can choose which garments you want to put on. And what's really fascinating about that to me is while Meggan didn't speak to it, I am keenly aware how that totally ties into the myth of Inanna, right? That has been the ancient template for the Venus synodic cycle that we stopped working with. I guess it was 2020 or 2021. But recently, we're guided to use a piece of that myth as a bridge for the next phase of the Venus synodic cycle, the ascent phase. So in the Inanna myth, as Inanna is descending from heaven to go into the underworld to meet with her sister, as she goes through each gate, which represents the 7 chakras of the physical body, she removes a royal vestment. She removes a garment, right? The crown is the royal vestment for the crown chakra. I remember at the throat chakra, it's the lapis lazuli necklace. And I remember that at the heart chakra, it's the breastplate. So she's removing all of these egoic layers, all of these royal vestments, royal garments, as she's going from gate to gate to gate, descending down into the underworld to meet with her sister Ereshkigal. And each of those royal vestments represents a power. Now, what's fascinating, again, in the myth, as she comes out of the underworld and she starts to rise back up through the gates, meaning rising back up through each of the chakras, she reclaims a royal vestment, the royal vestment that she surrendered at that chakra. So when this gate activation happens on August 5th at the root chakra, in the ancient myth, Inanna is reclaiming her royal robe. And the royal power represented by the royal robe is the life force energy, right? The Kundalini. So you see how even the Gospel of Mary Magdalene speaks to the royal power and having the eye of the heart, the new, to be able to reclaim, to see and to reclaim the royal power. I mean, it's just mind-blowing how all of these seemingly unconnected threads are actually intricately interwoven with each other. So after this happened, which was staggering, I realized, oh my goddess, the intention, you will see me. This was it. This was the big thing. I am seeing the eye of the heart through which I can perceive the soul. And in that moment, I knew that my egoic self, my egoic voice that was like, oh no, it wasn't you will know me, it was you will see me and you will know me, was completely wrong. In that moment, I knew it was you will see me. And what I didn't hear over the din of my egoic voice, and you will know me. Okay, so we'll get to that second part in a bit. So I'm clearly aware at this point that the whole retreat, and honestly, I don't recall if Meggan spoke to it and or if it was her intention, but for me, it was clear to me that the entire retreat, the transformation that takes place in those 3 days, right? And remember, I had received from that other Magdalene oracle the transformation card on Saturday, that those 3 days were about liberating myself from that first power, darkness. And I knew that. And so I opened the deck, you know, like a kid at Christmas, and I'm like, okay, what is the next step? What is the next step? Well, this is the card that came forward. The second power. So this is interesting because the second power, Meggan calls clinging, right? When you cling to a desire, something that you want, like clinging to, I've got to get married and I've got to have a husband, or I just even have to have a boyfriend, or okay, well, just someone that I can date. clinging to that. And so, you know, each of these cards gives us another soul voice meditation. And so first of all, let me read to you from the oracle what Meggan says about getting one of the power cards in her deck. So hold on just a second. So Meggan says in her oracle book, try to remember when you draw one of these 7 power cards that this is a great sign! Exclamation point. It means you're ready to do transformational work. Well, you know, I've been consciously engaging the Enon underworld since, what was it, April? I am ready to do transformational work. I have been doing transformational work. So, of course, I'm still, like I said, in the crucible doing transformational work. She writes, you're ready to free yourself more so you can make your next choice in life or in a relationship, not from ego, but from the soul of love you are also and have always been. So first of all, let me just say out the gate, I love this image on this second power card because I am keenly aware that this is an image of Mary Magdalene, Maria Jacobe, Maria Salome, and Sarah arriving on the shores of Sainte Marie de la Mer. And, you know, this was the last stop on our Magdalene journey in 2019. So it felt like the next step from that Magdalene journey. Yes, I've done all of this work, all of this transformation. Now we're going to do this. Now, it does say on this card, I trust what my soul desires, but the soul voice meditation question that Meggan offers for this card is related to the second power, clinging. What am I clinging to? What am I clinging to? And so, I go within and I hear the words, simple words, the mission. Okay, so let me unpack that for you. Some of you may have heard this story already. I've shared it numerous times. That from the age of 2, literally from the age of 2, at least, I knew that I had come onto this planet to do this great mission. And I knew that I would be doing this great mission with my partner. Now, my little egoic mind was like, oh, that must be a husband. So I spent all this time in my life waiting for the husband to show up so that I could start this great work, this great mission. And then it was like, well, maybe it's a soulmate, so somebody out there is a soulmate. On and on and on. The clinging to what is the mission? Who is the partner? How are we going to do this? Little did I know that I knew this because I had had that walk-in experience at about that same age. Remember what I said? Definitely before 3, maybe around 2.5. What I also realized was, wow, isn't it interesting that my sister gets born to be the witness for me, like right before the walk-in experience happens. I mean, it was just incredible. So I was like, okay, I'm letting go of what is the mission and who is the partner that I'm doing it with, because I feel like, my beloved Guru Satya Sai Baba always said, my life is my mission. And I never really got that until this moment, that my life is my mission. And it's going to look from moment to moment, breath to breath, different. But it's all a part of it. So I'm no longer clinging to that, because I know that for whatever purpose I came here, I am being that. And so then, because the card says, I trust what my soul desires, I ask next. But I saw when I wrote this, I didn't ask what is my soul's true desire. I wrote, what is my heart's true desire? And I heard, to be love. So that kind of kicked me, because I was like, whoa, okay, I know from the I am statements that I am an embodiment of love. I am pure love, blessing all beings everywhere. But I never thought about it in terms of being love. So I was like, okay, we're going to put that on the back burner and sit with that. But I had just gotten these cards, so it's like, all right, now what is the next step? Get the witness card. Can you believe this? After all my work with my sister and having the realization that I am the witness for her and she is the witness for me, and how in the Thecla scriptures, how Christ is the witness for Thecla. I mean, it's just like, how Mary Magdalene is the witness for Christ, which is why he was able to descend into the underworld and be able to come back. You know, it was just like, wow, of course, it's the witness card. And so you can see here it says, I am fully seen. And the soul voice meditation question for this card is, what aspect of my soul am I ready to witness and reveal? And I heard very clearly worthiness. And while I haven't spoken to it, Gina from the Galactic New Earth Tribe community, who also participated, can attest to it, that from the very beginning, Friday night, every conversation was immersed with this aspect of worthiness, which most people carry as feeling unworthy, as a shadow piece, or as a, you know, a core wound. And after I heard that the aspect of my soul that I'm ready to witness and reveal is worthiness, right? Ready to witness, I am worthy. Ready to reveal, these I am statements just came. I am worthy of being seen. I am worthy of being known. I am worthy of being loved. Wow. My soul had just said that my heart's desire is to be loved. And now I'm hearing I am worthy of being loved. And then I heard, I am loved. I am being loved. I am the beloved. Oh my goddess, you could have knocked me over with a feather, because the truth of the matter is, it was in that moment that Mary Magdalene revealed herself to me. Because up until then, all of my work with Magdalene and Yeshua and Mother Mary, Yusuf, Sophia Christ, it had all been kind of transpersonal, like they were somewhere up there, out there, and somehow I was desperately trying to feel that connection to them within me. It was transpersonal. It was beyond me. But in this moment, when my beloved, the beloved, acknowledged that I am its beloved, that was when Mary Magdalene revealed herself to me. And that's when I knew that I had been fully seen by the Sophia Christ that I am, by the Sophia Christ that is my beloved, that it was personal. It was personal. It was no longer transpersonal. And that's when the second part of the intention, and you will see me and you will know me. That's when I realized, wow, it happened, right? I was liberated from the first power, darkness, and I was liberated from the second power, clinging. And I am worthy of being seen, and I am worthy of being known, and I am worthy of being loved. And I am love, and I am the beloved, which allowed me to have the courage to go in, drop in one more time, and ask the soul voice meditation question: how do you want to be love within me and through me? And I heard keep seeking and keep finding. That's what I heard. Keep seeking and keep finding. And in that moment of hearing it, I knew that it was playful. It was like the hide and go seek game. That's how playful. And that's where this part of the scripture that Christ gives to Mary, for the child of true humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. I knew all of that when I heard keep seeking and keep finding, and I knew more. And the more that I knew was this part of the scripture. Every nature, every modeled form, every creature exists in and within each other. And what I knew is when I was being told, keep seeking and keep finding, is that everything that I see, everything that I encounter, every butterfly, every bird's feather, every horse, every person, everything, I am within them and they are within me. They are the beloved and I am their beloved. They are my beloved. I am their beloved. And I knew, Peter Mount Shasta talks about how he had met Anandamayi in India, and how he had this experience where he was in a rickshaw and she was outside of her ashram and she made the pranam to him, and he could feel the power that she had seen within him, his divine self. And he wanted to be able to know how to see that within himself. I am telling you that when Mary Magdalene revealed herself to me through the I am statement, I am the beloved, that's when I knew that I was seeing myself, that I was knowing myself. And when myself said, keep seeking and keep finding, and I knew that everything, my little Dolce, my son, everyone, everything, I can find my beloved within, and I will seek for my beloved within them, and I will find my beloved within them. And that's what happened when Anandamayi made the pranam to Peter Mount Shasta. The divine within me sees the divine within you. The divine within me seeks and has found the divine within you. And then I also knew this scripture from the Gospel of Philip. The mystery which unites two beings is great. Without it, the world would not exist. And that mystery that unites us all that is what allows everything manifested to exist is love. It's divine love. It's the liberating love. It's the liberating love of unconditional love, because we are embodiments of love. My beloved guru, Satya Sai Baba, always started every discussion with Prema Swarupa, Prema Swarupa, embodiments of love. He was telling us, and he was addressing us at the very core of our nature. We are love. And it is that mystery that this love is, that is what binds us together, and which is why it is so significant for us to be the observer, to be the witness for each other, because we are each the beloved of the other, and we can see our beloved within the other as they can see their beloved within us. It's just so profound. And so that brings me to this slide where, the intention that I received on Friday night and the Magdalene card that I received on Sunday morning comes full circle. It all unfolded within me, and Mary Magdalene revealed it to me, and she revealed herself to me within me. And I love this quote from Meggan's book, Mary Magdalene Revealed. The word assent, though, is misleading, in that the imagination immediately goes upward. I should say think, not think. Think transcendence. And this is all in caps, which is my emphasis. Think transcendence. Ascension, according to the Gospel of Mary, is more accurately a descent into the heart. So further up is actually further in. And I love this. I love this because this is what this entire Venus synodic journey, the divine royalty goddess journey, right? The Leo divine royalty goddess journey has been about. This is what Sophia has been guiding us to from the very beginning, when she insisted that we begin with tapping into our Christ hearts to hear our own inner Sophia Christ. She has been leading us deeper and deeper and deeper into our hearts, into the Holy of Holies, because by doing that, now we can transcend. And that's what the ascent phase, the next phase that will begin August 5th, will be about as we engage our crystalline bodies. Transcendence. It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. So I did come to know my inner light, my inner divine self, my soul, that is the light, that is the emanation of all that is. And with that, I say to you, I am anchored in the Christ heart. This is so significant, because this symbol, which is the symbol that is found on the Church of the Sainte Marie de la Mer in Sainte Marie de la Mer in France, is the same symbol that Meggan uses within her book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, which is the same symbol that she uses within her Magdalene Oracle. And there's a lot out there. In fact, I think I even talked about it in one of my video journals about what the cross and the heart and the anchor means, and one's for power and one's for love and one's for will, or they've got all these words that they make up about it. But what I know now, after having Mary Magdalene reveal herself to me, is that this symbol is a symbol of this I am statement. I am anchored in the Christ heart. And I am the holy fire of Sophia Christ. My personal mantra, I am the holy fire of Sophia Christ. And I know I am the beloved. And that's why I've written this love letter to all those recipients, from Meggan Watterson to my earthly mother, my earthly sister, the priestess sisters, the members of the Galactic New Earth Project, Magdalene and Yeshua, Mother Mary and Anna, Christ and Sophia, my own self as the beloved, and you. This is a love letter to you, because you too are the beloved. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me through this love letter that has taken sheets and sheets to write, front and back. Thank you for sticking with me and bearing witness, being the witness for me to this love letter. And with that, until the next time I share the love that I am, the pure love that I am, with you, heart to heart, blessing you with the love that I am, blessing all beings everywhere with the love that I am. Thank you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.